In this video, I'm going to go over selecting the keywords, and we're continuing with the demo of the signature app that I'm creating, and just a couple of pointers on selecting the keywords. I want to go back to my slide that I had shown in a previous video because it is very important. And there's three things we want to focus on when selecting keywords. The first one is to make sure that the keyword is highly relevant to what our app does. Because again, if we've selected a keyword that has nothing to do with what our app is about or it does, and someone searches for it and our app shows up as one of the results, they're going to see that it has nothing to do with what they're looking for and not download it and ignore it anyways. So there's no point in ranking highly for a keyword that has nothing to do with our app or is irrelevant to our app. So make sure relevance is there, and it's the most important thing when selecting a keyword. The second thing is to make sure that, especially when you're starting out with a new app, you want the keywords that you choose should have low competition. Because again, I've mentioned this in a previous video, but if you rank number 400 as a search result for a certain keyword, the chances of someone scrolling through 400 apps and finding your app and downloading it is pretty much not going to happen. And so you want to ask yourself how many other apps are competing for this keyword, and make sure that that number, the competition, is quite low. The last thing that we want to focus on is traffic. And the more traffic, the better, but it does depend on the competition. So traffic just means how many people are searching for that keyword. And so as long as that number isn't zero, as long as the keyword that you're targeting isn't bringing any traffic at all, as long as it's bringing some kind of traffic at all, if it's low competition, you want to focus on that keyword. So traffic is important, but it's also the third most important thing, and not as important as relevance and low competition. Now, lastly, just a couple of things about optimizing for your keywords. As your app when your app is first new and doesn't have much of a history or a reputation in the App Store, you do need to focus on low competition keywords. But as it develops a reputation, and what that means is as you get more reviews, and let's say there's a lot of positive reviews, and it's consistently getting a lot of downloads, and it's been in the App Store for a number of weeks, Apple and Google Play, they will see that your app is doing well and it has a reputation. And all of those things will start to help it rank better for higher competition keywords. And so what you want to do is after like 4 to 6 weeks, you want to go back and look at how your keywords that you've targeted are performing. And the ones that aren't performing well, you want to get rid of. And the ones that are performing well, you want to optimize. And then you want to insert new keywords to test from the old keywords that you've removed that weren't performing well. And so this takes a little bit of time. And believe it or not, most people don't do this. Most people just submit their app with an initial set of keywords, and they hope and pray for the best for that app, and they move on to something else. So if you are going to optimize your keywords, you are definitely a step ahead of the competition. And you will definitely perform better than what's out there already. So just to reiterate it, keywords need to be tracked and modified and updated over time for best results. In the previous video, we went through and created an app title, and that was easy signature, sign documents quickly and securely using your finger, PDF, Word, Excel. So we have a lot of keywords there already. And what I've done is I've highlighted those keywords that are in the title in yellow. And we don't want to use those keywords again just because they're already in the title and we only have 100 characters of space. So we might as well use other words in our keyword list that aren't already in the title, since the title is an extension of our keywords anyways. And when we're looking for creating a good keyword list, the first thing we want to look for, as I mentioned, is relevance. And all of these words we know from our previous research are relevant to what we are doing with our app or what we want our app to be. And so we already know that these are relevant. So the next thing we want to look for is keywords that have low competition. And the way we identify low competition is through iPhone difficulty and iPad difficulty. And we know that if you're targeting specifically just to iPad, I would look at the iPad difficulty list or the numbers here. But for any other app, if it's either just iPhone or both iPhone and iPad, I would look at iPhone difficulty, these numbers instead. Just because generally when it's iPhone, most of them are more universal apps, and they can run on both iPhone and iPad. So the way we gauge how competitive a keyword is using this number is basically the lower the number, the less competitive it is. There's less competition for the keyword. So for example, the term DocuSign only has an iPhone difficulty score of 0.2, which is a very low number, which means it's a very low competition keyword. And then on the other side, the term with, which is a fairly generic term, has an iPhone difficulty of 7.1, which is on the other end, and it's very difficult. It's a much more difficult keyword to rank for. I believe this Sensor Tower ranking is on a scale of 0 to 10, but I've seen some that are 8 point something. But just keep in mind, the lower the number, the less competitive that key phrase is, and the higher the number, the more competitive it is. And I found in my experience that if you can find keywords that are about 3.0, maybe 3.5 or less, those are good starting keywords to target, to rank for, especially if you have a new app. When you get above 3.5 or 4, 5, and above, that starts to get very difficult to rank for, especially if you're a new app. So I would avoid anything that's above 3.5 or 4, somewhere around there. And you may ask, well, what happens if I do a keyword search and all my keywords are like 5 and above? If you're in that boat and you find that all the terms that you like are very competitive, or 5 or more, or fairly difficult to rank for, my suggestion is you have to keep looking. You have to do more research and find more niche, unique keywords that have a lower iPhone difficulty score, which means lower competition. So the third thing we want to look for is traffic, and we want to make sure that all the keywords that we target have some sort of traffic. And we can see from here, all of these are greater than 0, so we know that all of these keywords are bringing in some form of traffic. And again, the lower the number, the less traffic it's getting. The higher the number, the more traffic it's getting. So we want these numbers to be high, but it's relative to iPhone difficulty. So we want our iPhone difficulty to definitely be generally under that 3.5 mark. And as long as those related keywords that have low competition have some sort of traffic coming in, then I would say it's good to go for. As long as it's not 0, you should still target it. So in this example, I'm just going to type out what we have that aren't highlighted in yellow. So as keywords, I would target DocuSign, cosign, approval, legal, digitally, docu, autograph, agreement, firma electronica, scan. So you can see up to scan, it goes. Scan has a competition difficulty of 3.4, and like I had mentioned, at about 3.5, that's sort of where I want to be for my initial keywords. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop right here at scan, and then I'm going to basically copy and paste this list here, and I'm going to take that list. I just realized I typed legal wrong. Legal. I'm going to copy this list, and I'm going to go back to Sensor Tower, and under their keyword optimization tool, I'm just going to paste in that list of keywords that I have. And when I click out of this box, I can see that I have 88 keywords out of 100. So in that case, I probably would add a couple of more that are greater than 3.5. Again, it's not exact. This is just a rule of thumb, and you're going to have to feel it out to see, based on your apps, what's too competitive and not. And that's what you do when you track your keywords over time. So, but in this case, I'm going to add the keywords ink, capture, And let's just say creator. So there's a few more. I'm going to copy those. Go back to Sensor Tower's keyword optimization and paste those in. So now I know I have 108 characters. So I'm over that 100 character limit. So I will remove that last keyword, and I'm right there. I'm exactly at 100 characters. And that would complete my initial keyword list that I would submit to Apple for my list of keywords. If I had 96 keywords or 97 keywords, I may try to fill in the last couple of characters with a number 1 or a number 3 or some common single character or single digit number, or maybe if I have like 3 characters remaining, I might put in the just to fill it up and know that at least there's some other keyword that I can use there. But in this case, I have a 100 character. I filled up my 100 characters, so I'm just going to click Optimize. And we can see that all of these are sorted by competition, and they're all under 3. Oh, they're not sorted by competition. Let's see. There. Now they're sorted by iPhone difficulty, which is how competitive the keyword is. And we can see everything but ink falls under 3.5. That 3.5 number isn't a hard set rule, but I've just found that in my experience, as you get to the higher numbers, above 3.5 or 4, I don't seem to really rank very well for them. And so that's my rule of thumb. And that's what I would recommend to you as a starting point as well. We can see that all of them have some form of traffic. So that would be my initial keyword list that I would submit to Apple right here. And I do want to mention this is specific to Apple in terms of having a 100 character limit. Android does not have a section where you can enter and target keywords. But what we do for Android is we would take these keywords and craft or create a description with all of these keywords in it, or as many of these keywords as we can use in our description. And that's how Google or Android, Google Play Store would search to rank our app. It would be based on what's primarily in our description and in other phrases or other titles and things that are in their listing. So, but that's a starting point. That's how I would create the keyword list, and it's also how I would recommend you start as well.